WBTN in high definition. This is a Local 24 breaking news alert.
Severe weather slams the Mid-South. In Fraser, 45 people evacuated from their homes. In South Haven, Mississippi, an apartment complex flooded. People evacuated. In Whitehaven, the roof of the Southland Mall caved in. This after taking a beating from the rain. And in Bartlett, where a road was closed and an elderly woman was rescued by firefighters. You know what? It's just been a messy day. And Local 24 has crews covering it all. Tish Clark is in DeSoto County, now declared a state of emergency. Meteorologist Sean Parker is in Bartlett. Austin Lewis in Fraser, where those nearly 50 people were evacuated. And we also have coverage of the roof collapse at Southland Mall. But first, let's go to Jenny DePrizio, who is live in South Haven at the Savannah Creek Apartments, where some of the worst flooding happened. And Jenny, I understand that the Coast Guard had to evacuate dozens of people there.
Yeah, Katina, that's exactly what happened. You know, the water has receded now, but earlier today, this entire area, this apartment complex, it was flooded. The flood water so strong, it knocked down this fence. People that I talked to said they basically can't believe anything like this would have happened.
I'm just thankful that they can get us out.
That's how almost everyone felt as one by one they were put on a rescue boat. Luckily, no one was hurt.
I had people running around, knocking on doors, getting dogs out. I mean, the couches were floating in the bottom floor apartments. Like, it was bad.
Humans weren't the only victims from Thursday's flood. Pets had to be rescued too, including this Great Dane.
Your dog? Yep. You can let her go. She'll come right here. She's pretty tall, but she was in a crate. So I have her crated every day, so I didn't know if she was going to make it or not.
We were asleep. We got woken up. Hey, your cars are flooded. Water completely covered my cars.
And with all the damage around her, Leslie Bruno couldn't have expected what happened next.
She was feeling bad. I figured I'd go ahead and, ask her to marry me, and she said yeah.
The ring was actually in his car, so he had to go through the water, get in there, pull it out. He came up there, and we got engaged on the porch.
Moments later, the Coast Guard came to rescue them. Their first engagement pictures snapped in the middle of the flood. Here we go. Now, that newly engaged couple tonight, they are staying with relatives because there is no power here. But I don't know if you can see, Entergy has arrived, and they are going to try and get the power back on at this complex. Don't know when that will happen. Live in South Haven, Jenny DePrizio, Local 24 News.
They'll definitely remember. Well, just moments ago, Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant officially declared a state of emergency for DeSoto County. As we mentioned earlier, at one point, nearly a dozen DeSoto County roads were shut down due to flooding or downed trees. Several of the roads have now reopened. Local 24's Tish Clark is live in South Haven. And Tish, lots of flooding actually where you live.
Yes, Katina, it happened so fast. It was almost unbelievable. I live in Olive Branch out in the county, and my front and backyards both flooded within just a few minutes. My driveway nearly washed out completely. And this all happened seriously within like 20-25 minutes tops. Miller Road, it was blocked off at each end, at Bethel Road, then at Highway 78. DeSoto County deputies blocked off certain roads like Miller to keep drivers from taking any dangerous risks. Several roads were closed, opened again, but not all of them. Some areas throughout the county still underwater tonight. The soccer fields in Olive Branch completely covered. Looks like a big lake. South Haven Mayor Darren Musselwhite, we spoke with him earlier, says many residents had to be rescued from their homes, and crews have been working to get flooding under control.
We've had emergency crews trying to get people out of the homes, so we've pretty much got everybody out of the homes now. Everything is safe temporarily. We're just waiting on, Energy's got the power cut off for safety reasons, so we're waiting on a response from them to find out when it'll be safe for some of the people to go back in their home.
And an emergency shelter has been set up for flood victims at Brown Missionary Baptist Church on State Line Road here in South Haven. We've posted that information on our Facebook page, so you can check that out as well. It could take several days for DeSoto County leaders to assess all the damage flooding may have caused. Live in South Haven, Tish Clark, Local 24 News.
Tish thinks dozens and dozens of people in a Fraser neighborhood are sleeping someplace else tonight. The Memphis Office of Emergency Management reports that 45 people were evacuated from Mountain Terrace today. A rep for MLGW says they had to shut down the power because the water levels were so high inside the homes. Local 24's Austin Lewis is in Fraser. And Austin, where are these folks having to go now?
People I spoke with say that they are staying with either friends or relatives, but some are still shaken up by the flooding that took place here earlier today. 24 people were forced to wait out the rising floodwaters at the Ed Rice Community Center in Fraser. MATA brought the flood victims to the center after rising waters forced them from their neighborhood. Shakija Salter and her 9 children were one of those evacuated. She's happy that they are dry now, but she says she had never seen anything like this.
Horrible, scary, because I have never been through nothing like this in my life.
Salter says she's worried about some of the damage that she will have to come home to.
There's so much, so yeah, it's hard to get it out. It's going to take a minute to get it out. Yep, and in the kitchen, it's muddy water in the kitchen part of it.
And that flooding was not just in the Salter home. Jaquila Salter says the rising waters turned streets into rivers as trash flurried downstream.
It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing, yeah. Because it was mattresses going everywhere and tables, garbage cans.
But while Shakija Salter tries to wrap her head around the damage, she says at least everyone from her oldest to her youngest is all together and safe. Salter tells me she plans to stay with her relative, but she is anxious to get back to her own home. Reporting in Fraser, Austin Lewis, Local 24 News.
Austin, thanks. Firefighters rescued an elderly woman from her flooded home in Bartlett this morning. Local 24 was on the scene when crews helped the woman to safety. The flooding happened near Brownsville and Ellendale. Well, a big intersection in Bartlett that remained closed almost all day due to flooding is now back open. This is Yale Road and Brother Boulevard. Trees crashed into Yale Road where it passes over a stream. At first, officials with Bartlett Public Works said the bridge was structurally unsound, but now things there are actually back to normal. And another major intersection in Bartlett experienced flash flooding this morning. This is video of Stage Road and Bartlett Boulevard right by the Bartlett Town Center. Bartlett High School, Elementary School, and the town's Municipal Center all suffered damage today, too. Well, from the morning to the afternoon, the flood threat shifted south. Roads were washed out in Whitehaven, and the roof at the Southland Mall caved in due to the weight of rainwater. Local 24 meteorologist Sean Parker went to Whitehaven and witnessed the damage. Sean actually joins us live now from Bartlett, an area that was flooded earlier. And Sean, how do the two areas compare?
They're different degrees, Katina. What happened here was a stream rising so much, and you just had these massive trees hit up against this bridge. You just heard Katina mention how the bridge is back open. It's structurally sound. We're good to go. But to my south, where almost record amounts of rain fell, the weight of the water couldn't keep up with, well, the mall couldn't keep up with the weight of the water, and neither could some communities.
We noticed a portion of the roof had collapsed at 1212 Southland Mall.
Ellen Ballantine and Daryl Askew heard the whole thing.
We just heard a boom, and we started running out of my store, out the back door of my store.
The roof was sinking in. There was pipes, water everywhere, everything flooding up, water coming down the hallways, down the other hallways. So they told everybody to close their store down.
Over 200 people forced to leave the mall back into the rain.
The structural engineer is en route. He's going to determine the stability of the structure if we're able to open any of the businesses back up.
Meanwhile, a few miles away on Haleville Road in Whitehaven,
Flood everywhere.
Sherry Doty was trying to get home for over 2 hours.
We took Elvis Presley, got turned around. We took Shelby Drive, got turned around.
James Armstrong was already home.
The water came up to my car about that high.
He's spraying the mud off his driveway to keep it out of the house. He's seen this play out before.
A lot of time we need to clean out our drains, and the ditch over there gets stopped up.
Yeah, so when you're doing your fall cleaning, your fall landscaping, bag all that stuff up, that mulch, that grass, all those leaves, because if you toss them in a drain, well, flooding then happens down the road. Live in Bartlett, Sean Parker, Local 24 News.
Thank you so much, Sean. And we want to see pictures of the weather where you live. Tish Clark snapped this photo of flooding in her yard in Olive Branch. Now, if you can safely take pictures of the bad weather, send them to us, please. Email them to shareit@localmemphis.com. You can also send them to us on Facebook and Twitter. Well, let's bring in Local 24's Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams. Paul, what are we looking like right now?
Well, actually, good news is that we're totally clear. Take a look at real-time radar. I want to reassure you that we're done with the rain at this particular point, and I'm not expecting any additional showers. However, this just released from the National Weather Service. We have a 15-foot hole that's being reported in Spring Valley subdivision, and we have two different areas where we had record rainfall amounts. In Memphis at the official site, nearly 4.5 inches of rain fell there today. That's a new record. And in Jackson, nearly 2.5 inches of rain fell today. That's a record. Both of those records, by the way, set in 1945. Now, coming up, I'll alert you as to whether or not we have additional storms that may be threatening us over this upcoming busy weekend when I return.
Paul, thanks. Remember, we will have continuing coverage of the severe weather on our website. That's localmemphis.com and on Facebook and Twitter. Well, a special 9/11 memorial has found a new home, and it's right here in the Mid-South. Coming up, Local 24's Cameron Harper will show you the memorial, which was once displayed in New York, how it ended up in the Bluff City after the break.